so takes us longer to complete tasks at hand. Having Asperger's, not making sense. Our actions are different from you, a human too. Who am I? I'm a human too. I'm just like you with ASD. Who am I? I'm a human too. I'm just like you with ASD.
Hello everyone and welcome to Autism Stories, where we connect you with amazing people that are helping teens and adults with autism become more independent and successful. I'm your host Doug Bletcher, the founder of Autism Personal Coach. What would it be like to have autism and be a NASCAR driver? On this episode we talk with Armani Williams, the first openly diagnosed NASCAR driver with autism. Armani was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 2 and was considered nonverbal. Many people with autism have difficulty focusing on and processing different stimuli and tasks simultaneously, in addition to complication with communicating with others. These are two really important skills for any race car driver. Initially, it seemed that Armani's dream of becoming a professional NASCAR driver was impossible. Today, Armani shares with us how the impossible became possible. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Armani, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
So you started racing at the age of 8, and at the end of your first season, you had told your dad that you said to him, "I understand." What did you mean when you told him that?
Yes, to add on to that, actually I told my dad that I understand. Not my dad, I mean, to me, when I was 8 years old as an autistic child, everything around me was sort of strange. I saw the world differently than everyone else, but once I hopped into a race car on that day, that's when I told my dad that I understand. I get it now. And, it became clear to me that, I found my natural ability, and that was being behind the wheel of a race car. I knew what the car did, I knew what to do with it. And ever since then, I've always had the mentality to go out and be successful and win week in and week out and everything that I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Now, the stronger support network that we have, the greater chance that we have for success. So can maybe you talk a little bit about how your family has not only supported your race career, but overall in terms of your development?
Yeah, I mean, my family, they've been very supportive. It's just helping me get through the ranks ever since I told them I wanted to be a race car driver. My family has helped me in my development in putting me in better situations where I can compete in other competitive series, where I can challenge myself to develop more into being a better race car driver, and just also teaching me through some of the business side of racing off track as well, So really there's a lot that they've helped with my development and just helping me get to where I am today, and I would have not been here without them, so it was awesome to kind of have that support and to have them help me with my development.
Now, I imagine people see your success that you've had, but they don't also see probably the many challenges that have been along the way. Can you talk a little bit about what made you keep going when you did face those challenges and obstacles?
Yeah, just being autistic, it wasn't it's not a very easy life for sure. It's a lifelong development disorder where we have difficulties in social interaction, communication issues, and competitive behaviors and other less typical behaviors.
I always say that sports can be such a great benefit to those with autism. How has NASCAR racing helped you?
Yeah, NASCAR racing has helped me a lot along the way. Really just knowing the history of the sport and like what its demands are, in like big heavy duty cars and running at 180 plus miles an hour, and just be able to have the mental toughness as well have been a huge benefit for me, and even through high school I played other sports with like football and track and field that like are physical and have a mental toughness in them, so.
Now, I think for the most part, I always say friends have interest in common, and connecting with others that share the same passion as you is even more powerful. Has NASCAR been helpful to you in developing friendships or understanding people better through your passion?
It definitely has. It's great when I can be around the racetrack and knowing that a lot of people have the same interests as I am. That's what I love to do. Especially making friends with other drivers, teams, NASCAR people, and especially the fans too. That's the best part. And we even have autism fans that are into like NASCAR as well. That we reach out to as well. They follow me everywhere on social media, and they're able to say hello, and we're able to get back and connect with those people, and I just sort of develop those kind of friendships there. So really, that's the great thing about NASCAR. It's just developing those friendships and knowing that you have the same interests that they have as well.
Mm. And what's the feedback that you've gotten from other NASCAR drivers on the circuit?
Yeah, like with the feedback, I've had a lot of drivers tell me how I'm like an inspiration, humble, really good kid, who wants to go out there, and compete and win every single weekend, So really, you have a lot of people that have like that kind of respect for me, and so that's always great. And I'm just out there, continuing to make a name for myself and prove that I got what it takes to win at the NASCAR level.
Mm-hmm. And I would imagine being a NASCAR driver takes up a lot of your time. However, having balance is really important also. How have you been able to maintain this balance while still being a successful driver?
Yeah, I tell you what, having that balance of having to do everything is not that easy, But for like the most part, I've been running a part-time schedule when I was racing up in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series up in Canada, and then running a few races in the NASCAR K&N Series last year. But at the same time, I've had to focus on my education as I'm in college now these days, and going to these promotion events I have to attend to. Working a regular job when I'm not on the racetrack, and then just basically the traveling. So there's a lot of stuff that I've had to go through, but so far I've been able to kind of balance it out and make it work. And so right now I hope I'm probably going to race full time in NASCAR in the next couple of years.
So for me, on occasions, I have to go out of town for work leading up to that week. I think it's just so stressful in preparing for that. Now, I know you have a much more extensive travel schedule than I do this year, as you'll be racing throughout Canada and the United States coming up. What's the most stressful part of travel for you?
To me, there's not a lot that's stressful about traveling. I love to travel wherever I go, especially to races. I think, the main thing that may be kind of stressful is just knowing to navigate through airports. And, around the world, they're so different that they're not all the same. You got to figure out how to get through security, where your boarding gate is, and your luggage claim, and then even when you get to where you need to be, how exactly are you going to get to your hotel close to the track from the airport and stuff, so there's a lot that goes through there, but I would say that was the only little stressful thing to go through while traveling.
Yeah, because when you learn to navigate one airport, that things can be a lot different at another airport.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just every airport's it's different in unique ways that you just don't know how to navigate them very well because you don't go to those airports a lot. So I mean that's the only tough part.
So in 2015, you and your family established the Armani Williams Race for Autism Foundation. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about the mission of your foundation and how they can go about learning more information about it?
Yes, absolutely. So our mission with the Armani Williams Race for Autism Foundation is we want to use my racing as a platform to help build awareness with autism. We started working some things to help our foundation this year in 2019. Our focus is on missing autistic children. We've heard last year on some occasions where an autistic child kind of wanders away and they go missing. And, as a parent, you get really worried a lot because you don't know where your child is and stuff like that. So, really we're connecting and working with a few companies to help develop a GPS tracker to where if an autistic kid wanders off and goes missing, a parent can use the GPS tracker on the kid to track where their kid is at, so that way they don't have to worry and they know where they are and they can help them bring their kid back home and stuff. So really, that's one thing we're working on at the beginning of this year, and we got more things that we are close to working on that are coming up for our foundation this year, and we're looking to make some big announcements soon. And really, if you want to learn more about our foundation and what about me or what we do, visit www.teamarmaniracing.com. And you and other people can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Team Armani Racing to view my activities and see what we're doing as well. So that's where you can get your information from.
That's great. And just one last question, thinking towards the future, what are some of your educational goals and your goals as a NASCAR driver?
Really as a NASCAR driver, in the short term, we want to kind of, I want to be able to be on an established team to where, I can go out there and prove that, I can win in NASCAR. And in the long term, I want to run in NASCAR's top level in the NASCAR Cup Series. It's just racing in those three elite series is where I want to end up being. And then educationally, I want to be able to, finish off college and, earn a degree and, kind of get those, job opportunities that I can have. So it's not that I only do racing, but, I got other job opportunities I can do, So really those are my goals that, I'm saying for myself and, hoping to reach in the next few years.
Right. Well, I really appreciated your time today, Armani. Thanks so much for the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Doug. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
Thank you for listening to today's episode, and thank you so much to Armani for the conversation. Did you know that Autism Personal Coach saves people with autism from feeling alone and being isolated? So often teens and adults with autism struggle with anxiety and as a result don't have success in their lives. Autism Personal Coach is a unique service in that we help those with autism by working on meaningful, individualized goals in the setting in which they'll be used so their anxiety is greatly reduced and as a result they can become more independent and successful. To get an autism coach for yourself or a loved one, it's very easy. All you have to do is email autismpersonalcoach@yahoo.com or call 216-336-5889 and request a coach today. On next week's episode, we will talk with Yvette Sakar about the challenges to those with autism and their family members who aren't able to speak English fluently. Talk to you then.